Inspector General of Police. All right, sign language interpreter tonight on this special JKL is Jklive. Now, we begin our broadcast with the controversy surrounding the JKIA takeover, where it is emerging that the development of interest to take over JKA, the preparation of a proposal and receipt by the Kenya Airports Authority was done in a record 1 day. Now, in court papers filed by the Adani Group, it has also been revealed that it took Kenya Airports Authority a record 17 days to clear Adani to proceed to the next stage. As our very own Stephen Leto reports, the chronology of time shows a rushed takeover proceeding, even as Adani insists that the process was above board.
A court filing done by the Adani Airport Holdings Limited has lifted a lead on how the Adani's learnt of the investment opportunity at the regional hub, JKIA. In a series of newspaper articles, Adani says it has been on the JKIA radar for quite some time now. In the court papers, Adani reveals that on 13 December 2023, Citizen Digital published an article titled Transport CS Murkomen Vows Complete Overhaul amid problems at JKIA, and reported several challenges experienced at JKIA, including constant power outages for long hours and poor infrastructure within JKIA. Adani told the Kenyan High Court that according to the articles, including Citizen Digital that has been filed as an exhibit, there has been several attempts by Government of Kenya to refurbish JKIA by engaging several local contractors who have not been able to improve the infrastructure and status of the airport. In response to a court case filed by the Law Society of Kenya and the Kenya Human Rights Commission, everything seemed to have taken place in a single day. On 1st March 2024, Adani says it developed interest in JKIA, and on the same day, it originated a privately initiated proposal PIP, and within the same day, Adani sent proposal to Kenya Airports Authority, where KAA received it the same day. In the privately initiated proposal, Adani detailed the project delivery plan, justification for the PIP method, value for money, affordability of the project, positive impacts of the PIP method, and financial implications of the project. Upon receipt of the deal, Kenya Airports Authority spent only 17 days and cleared Adani to proceed to the next phase of feasibility study, and in 10 days, Adani was done with the feasibility study. However, Adani has told the courts that the project is still at the review and due diligence stage by the applicants, that the JKIA has since been leased for 30 years is premature and an outright misrepresentation of facts. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
It is a story that refuses to go away. Stephen Leto, keep us updated as we go along. Now, in other news, convicted acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli's risks being jailed after his attempts to challenge the conviction suffered a setback when the Court of Appeal postponed the hearing to next week. Now, Masengeli's 6-day window to appear before the judge or begin the 6-month jail term imposed on him expires on Monday. Now, as our very own Ben Kiri reports, pressure continues to mount on Masengeli to resign.
Time is quickly running out for convicted acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli to redeem himself. By Monday next week, his 6-month prison sentence kicks in, unless he ceases his ongoing defiance, a stance he has maintained with consistency, and present himself before Justice Mogambi. Masengeli's illegal efforts to overturn his sentence hit a roadblock. Through advocates Cecil Miller and Steve Ogola, Masengeli filed an appeal under his certificate of urgency, arguing that Judge Lawrence Mugambi had condemned him without granting a fair hearing, and that his sending of representatives to court should have been sufficient, and that his sending of
that we work together towards serving not interests of individuals, but the collective interest of the people of Kenya.
Speaking during the launch of the strategic framework for reforms in the National Police Service, Kenya Prison Service, and the National Youth Service, the president urged the institutions to resolve their differences and work together harmoniously to serve the public effectively. And as this hangs over Masengeli's head, more petitions are being filed seeking to have him declared unfit to hold public office. On Wednesday, Charles Mugane, an advocate of the High Court, filed a petition arguing that Masengeli is in blatant violation of Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution and the Leadership and Integrity Act of 2012, rendering him unfit for public service. Mugane contended that Masengeli's conviction for contempt of court, a serious offense against the administration of justice, makes his continued tenure a mockery of public service principles. He emphasized that every day Masengeli remains in office following his conviction constitutes a gross mutilation and dismemberment of the constitution he is sworn to uphold. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, Kiri, thanks so much for that. Now, learning in public universities has been paralyzed as the university's academic staff union, UASU, and the Kenya University Staff Union, KUSU, went on strike over delays in implementation of their 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement. Now, members of the two unions are protesting low pay, delayed wages, non-remittance of statutory deductions, and the government's failure to provide a comprehensive medical cover. We get more from our very own Willie Lusige.
With the songs and solidarity chants, university staff members under UASU and KUSU kicked off a nationwide strike across public universities. Solidarity From Masai Mara University to Kisii University and then to Pwani University, the strike chants echoed. Lecturers carried placards displaying their displeasure with the employer. A similar display was witnessed at Chuka University, Machakos University, JKUAT, Kenyatta University, all the way to Maseno University. Lecturers and university staff demonstrated across the country, paralyzing learning activities. Leaders of the two unions, speaking from different public universities, expressed their frustration over the delays in negotiating their members' 2021-2025 CBA with the government since 2020.
The Dons here and other members of staff have a just cause that they want the government to listen to.
As we are prepared, even if the world will come to an end before they call off the strike, we are ready to go full swing.
Our expectations for the improved terms and conditions have met with unnecessary delays. We urge the national leadership to intervene and resolve this stalemate.
The same script at the Technical University of Kenya, where university staff and lecturers officially commenced their strike under the leadership of senior union officials. They too echoed complaints of low pay, delayed wages, non-remittance of statutory deductions, and the lack of comprehensive medical cover.
We have been taken for granted to an extent that we are being paid salaries late. Our remittance are not being remitted to the institutions. Yes. Our pension schemes have since collapsed, and the government has not said a word.
If there is no money, the 7 to 10% that was given to our fellow public servants must also percolate the universities.
The unions also criticized the government for equating university staff with lower-grade civil servants, highlighting discrepancies in pay and promotions set by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC.
I want Dons to be given Kalon so that they can buy machines. We are ready for talks, but we will strike until we strike a deal.
Dons across the country have done their tools and vowed not to return to the lecture halls until their collective bargaining agreement of 2021-2025, submitted in 2020, is fully implemented, leaving thousands of students across the country to bear the brunt of the strike. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV at Chuka University in Nairobi.
All right, Willie, thanks so much for that. At the same time, Kenyans have 12 days to register for the Social Health Authority, otherwise known as SHA, or risk missing out on health insurance cover. Now, under the scheme, all Kenyans, both contributors and dependents, are required to enroll to enjoy the health cover. As Emily Chabet reports, the Ministry of Health says it has notified employers to remit October NHIF deductions to the new scheme.
The clock is ticking for Kenyans and users of the National Health Insurance Fund services as the government remains determined to roll out the new medical insurance scheme under the Social Health Authority by the 1st of October despite existing legal challenges. Medical Services Principal Secretary Harry Kimtai says the last reimbursement under the NHIF will lapse on the night of 30th September 2024.
Anybody who goes to hospital, treated, discharged, inpatient or outpatient, effective 1st of October, will be treated under the Social Health Authority benefits.
According to the ministry, Kenyans must be registered by end of this month as a member of the Social Health Insurance Scheme. Individuals can register by themselves or at different health facilities across the country.
We've also made a provision that if you reach the hospital in case of emergency or you have not registered by that time, which you are not encouraging, there will be an agent who will have been appointed by Social Health Authority to take care of registration.
The ministry says that from next month, employers will be required to remit what has been NHIF deductions from employees to the new scheme under the Social Health Authority.
We have notified the employers on the process of how to register using the employer portal so that they are able to remit the employee's salary for the month of October to go not to NHIF but to Social Health Authority.
Earlier this week, the ministry reported that 1.2 million Kenyans had registered with the Social Health Authority. The ministry is confident that in less than 2 weeks to the new month, there is sufficient time to put everything in order to ensure a smooth transition.
At mashinani level, where there's the infrastructure probably, even people may not be able to get to the nearest health facility in good time. Therefore, it is important to utilize the community health promoters at the bottom of the pyramid.
This one needs a drive, the way we normally have campaigns. You normally have campaigns whenever you have a situation. We need to be deliberate out there and say we are going to have the ministry having a drive to register.
It is not just the beginning. It has been tried and tested in Kenya since 2003. The concept has been there. And so who else to implement? This is our time to implement.
The new medical scheme will see every salaried Kenyan pay 2.75% of their income to the fund. Kenyans who are not in formal employment will fill out a questionnaire to determine their annual income. They will then pay 2.75% of this income, but not less than 300 Kenya shillings every month. Emily Chabet, Citizen TV.
Thank you for the delivery.
All right, Emily, thanks so much for that. Now, Douglas Kanja is expected to be officially appointed by President William Ruto as the new Inspector General of Police. This after the senior police boss's nomination was approved by the National Assembly. Kanja's approval came moments after President William Ruto announced that 106 billion shillings is required to fully implement police reforms. We get more from our very own Seth Olale.
Nearly 2 months after he was nominated by President William Ruto to be the new Inspector General of Police, following the resignation of Japheth Koome, Douglas Kanja's nomination has been approved by the National Assembly. The former Deputy Inspector General of Administration Police is now awaiting the formal appointment by President William Ruto and subsequent swearing in by Chief Justice Martha Koome to become the 5th IG of the National Police Service. Kanja, who had initially secured the Senate's approval, also served as Commandant of the General Service Unit. If approved, he will take over the reins of convicted Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli, who ushered the head of state in launching the strategic framework implementation reforms at the Kenya School of Government. President William Ruto announcing that 106 billion shillings will be required to fully implement the reforms in the National Police Service, the Kenya Prison Service, and the National Youth Service.
It will cost Kenya shillings 106 billion to fully actualize these recommendations. Of this, 22 billion will finance improvement in compensation package for officers.
Security anywhere in the world is a sensitive issue. It's not an easy matter to be able to put together all the competing issues and interests of the country.
The reforms, which will include salary reviews, technology, acquisition of modern equipment, and recruitment of additional officers, among others, will be implemented by an inter-agency coordination committee. That includes State Department for Internal Security, National Treasury, State Law Office, and State Department for Public Service, among others.
A police service, a national youth service, a prison service that is fit for purpose.
We will deliver a people-centered, participatory, open, transparent, and efficient security environment.
That 4 policies have been developed that will guide the reform process, addressing various aspects such as training.
Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
All right, Seth, thanks so much for that. Now, the battle for the kingpinship of the Mount Kenya region continued to intensify as members of the county assemblies from the larger Mount Kenya region differed over the region's leader. As a section of MCAs allied to Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki and that of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua clashed on the resolution to endorse Kindiki as the link between the Mount Kenya region and the executive. As Emmanuel Toll reports, close to 2,000 Njuri Ncheke leaders also broke ranks with Gachagua, throwing their weight behind the Interior Cabinet Secretary.
It is becoming a weekly endeavor to discredit, isolate, and delink from Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who has struggled to fashion himself as the Mount Kenya kingpin. Wednesday, a group of about 300 MCAs from the 12 counties in the Mount Kenya region convening in Murang'a County to support the move to have Kindiki link them to the executive and ostensibly delinking from DP Gachagua.
MCA's welfare is a third project, which we believe we have tried everyone. We have tried every other person, and we have not seen any fruits. And we are saying, even if it means going through Professor Kithure Kindiki, so that the welfare of the MCAs of this country can be sorted, so be it.
What was the aim of the meeting was discussing how MCAs can partner with the CS in the Ministry of Interior, who is the coordinator. The Interior Minister is the coordinator of development in the country, so that also our region benefits.
The leaders adding that Kindiki had become of age to lead the region in national matters.
At the national level, we are going to use Professor Kindiki Kithure as our point man for any political and national development matters.
However, as soon as the pro-Kindiki team finished addressing the media, the Gachagua wing had a quick rejoinder.
Tumefika sisi wote tulikuwa tumejaa hapa, lakini ile agenda tuliitoa jana si agenda ambayo tumeikuta leo kwa meza.
Some alleging they had been duped to attend the meeting disguised as a development convention for the MCAs, promising to stick with Gachagua.
Na hii vile tumeona ni njama ya mbali ya kukuja kuandamine deputy president, and we as the MCAs and leaders hapa mashinani hiyo hatutakubali.
However, several kilometers away in Meru County, close to 2,000 Jurin Cheke elders had occupied the roads leading to their shrine, coming out with a rallying call, as has been taken by about 69 other MPs from the region.
Tuko na kiana yetu, mtoto wetu wa kuzaa kwa kutoka Meru, ambaye ni Kithure Kindiki. Siku ya leo, Jurin Cheke, in their numbers, wamemuendorse kama kingpin wetu, kama spokesman wetu, kwamba yeye ndiye atakuwa nyota yetu, ndiye atakuwa link ya region hii yote, link ya region ya Mount Kenya East na Mount Kenya West.
The elders announcing that it was time the East illuminated the leadership path for the West and the region at large. And while the mountain continued to rumble, the DP was yet again conspicuously missing in several events overseen by his boss, President William Ruto, in the capital, Nairobi. Gachagua was no show when Ruto launched the strategic framework for implementation of terms and conditions of the service and other reforms for members of the National Police Service, Kenya Prison Service, and National Youth Service. Even at State House, Nairobi, the DP was also absent when the head of state met the 7 legislators from his home county of Nyeri. On Sunday, Gachagua skipped President Ruto's church service at IPCA Central Western Archdiocese in Nyeri County, choosing to worship at the neighboring Kirinyaga County. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, thanks so much. Now, in a developing story that has sparked outrage and calls for justice, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, has launched an investigation into allegations of police brutality during recent protests at Multimedia University that has seen an uproar over police brutality meted out on Trevor Mathenge Moreithi by ruthless police officers. Now, Trevor is currently hospitalized at Rongai Orthopedic Hospital. Ode Francis gives us the details.
This video that went viral has sparked uproar from Kenyans. This was the brutality meted by police on Trevor Mathenge Moreithi, a first-year Bachelor's of Applied Communication student at the Multimedia University. Trevor is currently hospitalized at Rongai Orthopedic Hospital, suffering from a fractured right ankle and several dislocated bones. He is scheduled to undergo rehabilitative surgery.
Justice for Trevor! Justice for Trevor!
Human rights organizations, including the Kenya National Commissions on Human Rights, have condemned the excessive use of force by police officers. A widely circulated video shows officers armed with tear gas guns and batons hurling kicks and blows at Trevor before dragging him to a spot where a canister was released near him. Fortunately, Trevor moved just in time to avoid a direct explosion.
Trevor had already surrendered to the police. Yes. He was already working with them, taking the orders that they had given him. Yes.
The investigation has also revealed that police officers lobbed a tear gas canister into a girls' hostel, causing a fire. IPOA has vowed to hold those responsible accountable.
This is not just an isolated incident. Yes. It is a stark reminder of the systematic issues we face within our society. Yes.
This incident comes barely 2 months after deadly protests rocked the country, with numerous cases of police brutality documented. In a similar attack at Parliament buildings, a protester was killed after a canister released by security agent exploded on his body.
All the investigative agencies, and you want to remind them that if the police officer who did injustice to one Trevor Moreithi is not brought to book, we are going, comrades, we are going, we are going to call upon all the comrades from different universities, and we shall and we will fight for justice, comrades.
The commission is now calling for immediate investigations and having the rogue officer to account for their actions. Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Odie, thanks so much for that. We're going to take our first break here on Jklive and remind you we have a very special bench tonight. We've never done this kind of bench before. We have 4 guests and 4 sign language interpreters because September is official Deaf Awareness Month. And right next to me here, if I get these names right, if I get them wrong, forgive me, guys, okay? But I will try. I'm not that perfect yet. Joseph Baraza, Etiang, is right here next to me. Right next to him is Monica Muteti. Right next to her, I know Georgine for many years. Georgine Auma. And on the very far end, Richard Mativu. All of them are deaf. It is exactly 40 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live here at Citizen Television. Now, on to the sad Endarasha story. And 21 bodies of the pupils who died in the tragic fire at Endarasha High School, or rather school, have been positively identified following a DNA matching profile conducted by the government chemist. Now, speaking at the Naramora Funeral Home in Nyeri on Wednesday, Chief Government Pathologist Johansson Oduor revealed the formation of a multi-agency team that will contact the parents who lost their children to view their kins and their remains. Now, Nyeri Acting Regional Commissioner Pius Murugu had indicated that there would be a joint memorial service to be held at Mwega Stadium in Nyeri before the bodies are handed over to their respective families for burial.
All the 21 students have now been identified through DNA. We are now in a process of contacting the relatives. We have a team made up of DCI and Red Cross and counsellors so that we can have them come and reunite with their loved ones as we are preparing for the next process of assisting them in the way they are going to bury the bodies.
Sad story. Switching gears here, and the extent of the misuse of funds at public universities was this afternoon laid bare before the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education when the Vice-Chancellor of Moi University, Professor Isaac Koskei, appeared before it. Now, the VC was at pains to explain why, for instance, 30 million shillings was spent on, guess what, a gate when the university is insolvent. Our very own Olive Burrows tells us which other skeletons fell out of the closet at today's hearing.
He needs to relax.
The heat was on when the Vice-Chancellor of Moi University, Professor Isaac Koskei, appeared before the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education of the National Assembly. The VC taken to task over decades of financial imprudence that have left the university insolvent.
Total current liabilities of Kenya shillings 4.5 billion exceeds the current assets balance of Kenya shillings 4,094,880,000, resulting to a negative working capital of Kenya shillings 7,316,000. The university had an accumulated deficit of Kenya shillings 2,811,536,000. Therefore, it is technically insolvent and may face financial challenges in settling liabilities as and when they fall due.
The irregularities flagged by the Office of the Auditor General, painting a picture of an irresponsible university management. The offences running the gamut from school fees paid into the wrong account and later withdrawn by unscrupulous staff members.
7,727,190, which were not banked in the university's bank accounts.
All right, Olive, thanks so much for that. Now, the ongoing Jipange na Viusasa promotion has awarded 2 lucky winners with 2 million shillings respectively for participating in the promotion. Paul Kamau, a farmer from Kiambu County, received his 1 million shillings check after visiting Viusasa offices, while Suleiman Mwangi, a driver from Nakuru County, was also the lucky winner this week after scooping his own 1 million shillings. Take a listen.
This is how a millionaire looks like.
More Kenyans continue to join the Millionaires Club, with the Jipange na Viusasa promotion awarding winners of 1 million shillings every week. Paul Kamau, a farmer from Kiambu County, is the latest winner to pocket 1 million shillings after participating in the promotion by viewing videos on Viusasa.
Nilidial star
487 star 3 hash. Then kuna choice tatu hapo, unaweza choose any.
Ulicheza na gani?
Mimi nilicheza na second choice ambao ni 50 bob.
Wow. Yes. Kamau, who used 50 shillings to participate in the promotion, says the money will go a long way to change the fortunes of his young family.
I'm food scientist, but for now I do farming. Nafanya nalimanga kitunguu. Lakini nafikiria juu mmenijenga hapa naweza anzisha hata kama ni mbuzi.
Ushafikiria mipango hii gani?
Lazima ukipata kitu unajipanga.
Another lucky winner is Suleiman Mwangi. Mwangi, a driver from Nakuru County, says the win will change his life.
I am calling to inform you that you are this week's winner of 1 million shillings courtesy of Jipange Ushinda na Viusasa.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Nimefurahi sana.
Umebambika?
Nimebambika.
For one to participate and stand a chance to win 50,000 shillings daily, 1 million shillings weekly, and 3 million shillings grand draw, just dial star 487 star 3 hash and select Jipange na Viusasa option. The more videos you watch, the higher your chance of becoming a millionaire.
This is all.
It is exactly 55 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Jklive Live here at Citizen Television. On to business news. And the insurance sector in Kenya has settled claims worth more than 5 billion shillings owing to flood-related damages. This was revealed during the inaugural Insurance CEOs Forum that is underway in the nation's capital, bringing together more than 300 CEOs from 84 countries to deliberate on the future of the insurance sector. Our very own Jimmy Mbogo now reports on some of the new challenges that the sector has to contend with, including liquidity and money laundering.
The Insurance Regulatory Authority has expressed concerns of the liquidity challenge facing some underwriters. According to Kalai Muse of the Insurance Regulatory Authority, some investments by several underwriters, particularly in property, have led to liquidity challenges, hindering their ability to settle claims.
We know there are a few companies who could be struggling, and some of them technically because of the economic situation. We actually have a lot of companies who have invested in properties, and you can't use properties to pay claims, and we've been talking to them so that they address that, they liquidate the properties.
The economic environment in the country has also been cited as yet another challenge to underwriters' liquidity issues, with unforeseen disasters taking a toll on the sector.
Our economy is facing some liquidity challenges, and that makes it difficult to honor financial obligations. Insurance companies are using artificial intelligence, robotic process automation in the claims management, meaning the time taken to settle claims has really come down, but now the point of liquidity, the financial liquidity to honor those obligations is a challenge.
Underwriters have been asked to work on innovative products that address dynamic risks they are facing, ranging from the natural disasters to cyber threats and pandemics. Regional insurance regulators have also been encouraged to ensure companies have sufficient reserves to mitigate growing losses, even as they promote risk reduction through environmental, social and governance criteria that also encourages green investment.
That we really need to harmonize regulation. We really need to have global best practices in the way we are approaching regulation and of course our business. So this event again is meant to invoke some thought process but also influence policy.
By working together, we can ensure that everyone has the opportunity to achieve their full potential, free from the fear of financial ruin due to unexpected events. Because technology has opened up geographical borders, let us also enhance provision of risk solutions that promote cross-border trade.
With an average penetration of 1.6% across the continent, stakeholders have been asked to work on products that will enhance penetration as well as ensure that their products offering remain sustainable. The CEO Forum is said to be an annual event to help address the gaps that limit penetration across the continent as well as foster collaboration and investment. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, Jimmy, thanks so much for that. Now, digital technologies generated $16 billion in economic activity across sub-Saharan Africa in 2023, according to a new report released by Google. Now, the study, conducted by independent research firm Public First, reveals the significant role that digital tools and infrastructure play in accelerating economic growth across the region. We get more from our very own Jasmine Wamboi.
With more than half of the population in sub-Saharan Africa expected to gain internet access over the next decade, Google's report, dubbed the digital opportunity in sub-Saharan Africa, reveals that this connectivity is expected to fuel GDP growth on the continent. According to the report, a 1% rise in internet access could boost the region's GDP by nearly 6%.
I was through this conversation.
The findings further indicate that every dollar invested in digital technologies in sub-Saharan Africa could generate over twice that in economic value by 2030. In 2023 alone, Google's products and services, including Google Search, Google Ads and Google Cloud, are said to have benefited over 1 million small and medium-sized businesses.
When we're thinking about the work we do as Google, in essence, the most important thing is asking ourselves, how do our products impact the day-to-day lives of Africans at large? And we are really proud to see that this report emphasizes the output of the work that we are actually doing on a day-to-day basis.
It is estimated that artificial intelligence could increase the region's economy by more than $30 billion, with the company's research centers in Ghana and Kenya at the forefront.
Leveraging Google AI as well as a normal mobile phone, you can be able to look at what challenges does an expectant mother have and really solving for for childhood mortality. That's number one. And number two is looking around food security. And leveraging AI, we've seen how we can be able to predict flood forecasting as well as locust prevention so that we can capture where locusts are hatching eggs. Those eggs can be destroyed before they hatch, and therefore protecting the food that would otherwise have been damaged.
Google continues to invest in the continent following a $1 billion commitment made in 2021 with a view to improve internet connectivity, entrepreneurship and innovation in Africa. Jasmine Wamboi, Citizen TV.
All right, Jasmine, thanks so much for that. Now, tea farmers are set to receive the first batch of fertilizer for their crop ahead of the short rainy season. Now, Agriculture PS Paul Rono flagged off the transportation of 47,300 metric tons of NPK fertilizer to smallholder tea farmers at the port of Mombasa. Now, the fertilizer will be transported to Nairobi via the SGR and distributed to farmers through their respective factories. This consignment is the first of a total of 97,000 tons that was acquired through international competitive bidding to ensure farmers get a fair price for their fertilizer. Now, the Agriculture PS also said that the government has identified new markets to purchase the unsold tea currently lying in stores.
I want to urge our farmers and assure them, now that we are giving them fertilizer, we encourage them to focus on quality. And when we talk of quality, let them be plucking their teas after every 8 days, rather than just waiting for 15 or 20 days.
Reducing delay, if you remember sometimes back, 3 years or 4 years back, to offload fertilizer used to take up to 15 days. But today it is taking 4 days. So this is a major improvement because KPA has worked with the private sector to allow the private sector to be the ones who are offloading the ship.
All right, on to our weekly feature, Smart Farm. And researchers in the country are aggressively pushing for the adoption of high-yielding varieties of rice that can withstand the effects of climate change. Now, upland rice is touted as one of the rice varieties that can do well in not so favorable conditions in the country, making it a key grain in boosting food security. Very own Dennis Otieno was in Meru County and brings us more on this week's Smart Farm.
A green revolution is slowly taking place in some eastern counties as farmers adopt a type of rice that doesn't require flooded water. Here's how. Rice is commonly known as a wetland crop. But in this farm at Koi village in Matungu ward, Meru County, Samuel Mbai and his fellow farmers have embraced upland rice, a variety that thrives away from paddy fields.
Chakula ingine, subsistence crops na horticulture, matunda na mboga. Alafu back in 2012 tukaletewa mchele upland rice.
Pia hii mchele ina magonjwa mingi kama vile ile tunatumia kwa kunyunyiza kwa mahindi. Kwa hivyo sasa hii kulima ni rahisi.
Kilimo Trust, a not-for-profit organization, has teamed up with Calro and other partners to promote the cultivation of upland rice.
We have a very big issue of climate change because of greenhouse gas emissions that cause global warming and hence climate change. So therefore, we want really as much as possible to move away rice production away from the wetlands and promote upland rice, which has very minimal levels of greenhouse gas emissions and therefore global warming. The other thing that we want to promote under this particular program on regenerative rice value chain that is funded by the iCare Foundation of the Netherlands is to ensure that rice production practices have become sustainable, to ensure that water efficiency is attained and we reduce emission of greenhouse gases, particularly methane.
Tulisema tutapanda mchele ya upland rice ndio tuone tofauti na hii mchele ingine. Alafu tena tukaona hii mchele ya upland rice ni mzuri sababu haitumii dawa. Sasa hii inatupunguzia gharama ya maji sababu hakuna mahali tutachimbua ati tufungie maji, na wenye wanapanda hakuna madhara watapata sababu hawapandi wakiwa ndani ya maji.
Grown on well-drained soils rather than flooded rice paddies, germination of this variety takes less than 14 days. The crop then takes between 3 and 4 months to mature. This rice variety is drought-tolerant and has a slightly lower production cost compared to lowland or paddy rice, making it a potential solution to Kenya's food security problem.
One of the characteristics of this rice is that, first of all, it is the yields are good. Secondly, it is drought-resistant. It is early maturing. It requires very minimal rains, and the yields are very good because some farmers can get as much as over 5 metric tons of rice from an acre. Basically, the weather conditions that you require to grow this type of rice are warm climate from midlands to the lowlands where we are right now, where we call the cotton zone. So anywhere from the midlands where you can do coffee all the way to the cotton zone, this particular type of rice does very well. So anywhere where you can grow coffee, particularly in the midlands and the lowlands, this is very well suited.
Designed to thrive under rain-fed conditions, the adoption of upland rice has helped increase the income of small-scale farmers and promote sustainable agricultural practices.
Kile kinipendeza ndio tupande huu mchele wa upland rice. Ni venye tulikuwa tunapanda mahindi hapo mbele na mahindi haikupiki bile, na bei ya mahindi na bei ya mchele, nikaona bei ya mchele ndio iko juu sana kulingana na bei ya mahindi.
Ile ya rural inahitaji maji mingi sana, na hata kazi yake ni kazi mingi kutengeneza ile mandimbwi nini, lakini hii unaipanda tu inamea na mvua. Mvua ikinyesha kawaida yake na inastahili, hata hitaji maji.
The upland rice can also be intercropped with other plants, making it suitable for small-scale rice farming. So far, more than 800 farmers have adopted the upland rice variety. The annual rice consumption in Kenya is estimated to be over 1 million metric tons. However, production capacity is roughly at 230,000 metric tons. Upland rice, therefore, offers that sustainable future, not just for the country's agricultural sector, but also small-scale farmers who make a bulk of this production.